Claire, really nice to meet you in here, and I am really appreciate that come here. So thank you. This is the tiny bookshop, the Libertine, and please tell me about this book. What inspired you to write this novel, The Broken Country?
Oh yes. Well, first, thank you for having me in your beautiful bookshop. It was actually a moment of. It was a real sort of thunderbolt because we live in a very old farmhouse surrounded by fields in the middle of farmland, and my husband was out running with our son's puppy, and it was the dog strayed into a field of lambs, and the farmer threatened to shoot him, which did not happen. But within minutes of talking about it, I just got this very vivid scene come into my head, and I could see the farmer and his wife in their field of sheep, and a young boy looking for his lost dog. And for some reason, I had the idea that the boy's father and the farmer's wife, that there was something between them. And so it was like this sort of love triangle just popped into my head. And then I just had to write it.
The story jumps between the past and the present. Why did you choose this structure?
So first of all, I started with, I suppose, a love story. And I chose 1955 and 1968 as the two timelines. And the reason for that was because I really want the whole story is about Beth, a woman who can't choose between two men. So I wanted the reader to feel a little bit of what she feels. So when you're reading those 1955 chapters at the beginning, I hope you feel really swept up in that first love affair between Beth and Gabriel. And then in the next chapter, you find yourself in 1968, and she's in a really good marriage with Frank. And so it's like, oh, well, why would she want to leave that? So that was my idea, was that I would show, how the past leads to the future. So I always had that timeline. And then the third timeline, the trial, that came later.
Gabriel and Beth has a long history. What do you think about the first love? And it was important to write the first love thing?
I think so, yeah. I think it's what a lot of readers I connect with. I think it can be so powerful, first love. And I think as you get older, you sort of dismiss it a little bit. But in actual fact, I think first love, when you're going through it yourself, can feel much bigger than anything else. And also when it ends, it feels much bigger. And I know, just because I now have a grown-up daughter, I remember seeing her, having her heart broken, and how enormous it felt. And so I really wanted to write about that. I wanted to try and reconnect with those very powerful first love feelings.
Maybe this is a stupid question, but you are in the team Frank or the team Gabriel?
It's not a stupid question. Everybody asks that question.
Okay.
And I am a team Frank. They say team Frank or team Gabriel. And I'm team Frank, but I wouldn't mind if Frank came with a little bit of Gabriel. Ideally both. And I think Frank was always my guy, my favorite character. And he was the one that when the book was hard, I always had to go back to it because I wanted to know what happened to him.
Not a secret that yesterday we met with each other, and you said that your favorite books is the Great Gatsby.
Yeah.
And I think about that, and in this book there is a secret, misery, and a love, and the trial. So maybe that was the inspired book?
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I was thinking that too when we spoke, because it's about the first love coming back, and also it's the sort of grand lifestyle as well, which Lucian's family sort of have the same grand lifestyle. I think it was in the back of my head. And have you ever read Atonement by Ian McEwan?
No.
Well, that's a similar sort of story, and that was definitely in the back of my head.
Okay.
I like those love across the class divide, sort of quite old-fashioned stories.
Okay. Beth is a really emotional and complicated character. Was that hard to build her, and how did you build her?
She actually came to me really fully formed, and I think the reason for that was, although the book changed so much, her character, I didn't have to work very hard on it because I understood her. And I think the reason for that is because I knew she'd lost a child, and I knew how completely devastated she was, and that everything that she did would be driven really in some way by the fact she'd lost her child. And so that made it quite easy to understand. And it made me feel I could forgive what she does in the book very easily. I always felt like I was on her side. I know some readers will find some of her choices difficult, but I think what I loved about her was, I think she's a survivor, and I think her life gets knocked off course very easily, whereas Gabriel, who's this rich, privileged man, everything goes to plan for Gabriel. So I love the fact that Beth is able to pick herself up and start again and find a life she likes even more with Frank.
Mm. Grief is a really important part of your novel. Why did you want to write about how people deal with loss?
Well, I think I probably didn't set out to do that, but and as a mother myself, I probably wouldn't have chosen to write a story that was so painful, but the story came and I had to write it. So it was important to me to write a story that was as emotionally true as possible about how a mother and a father would feel, and how a marriage might go into turmoil if you had lost a child in the way they do. And then also, I guess I was writing about grief. I was writing about Frank and Jimmy's grief, and I realised afterwards that had quite a lot to do with my own grief, because I lost my mother when I was young, and I understood looking back that probably I put quite a lot of my own feelings into the way they don't deal with it. Was probably how I was when I was young. I was a student, and I think I probably reacted in a similar way. So I think there are a lot of different layers of grief. There are a lot of people not processing it, and if maybe the big underlying theme is the different ways in which we grieve, and how eventually you do have to come to terms with it. Because I think that's what Frank does in the book, is eventually he faces his loss and processes it.
This is a really heartbreaking story, so you have to cry a lot, and I had to cry a lot. And maybe this is a really general question, but please tell me about Reese Witherspoon, because that was the March book of Reese Witherspoon Book Club, and you met with her. And please tell me about this thing, because it is a really big business and a really big popular thing in worldwide, I think.
Oh, yeah. Well, Reese, just to say, is absolutely lovely, and she seemed to me very much like she seems on screen, you know, or on Instagram, just very warm and kind and very, very smart and cerebral. She's sort of such a well-read person, but she's really charming. She made life so easy for me. And the book club is just amazing. I mean, they do so much. It's incredible, really. They support their authors, and it's a real joy to be part of the book club, because not only do you have the book club behind you, but all the other authors reach out, and so suddenly there's this whole network of authors talking to each other. So
really?
It's been a great joy, actually. Yeah, I think it's amazing, because I just love the premise, which is that they like to tell women's stories in all their different forms, which is amazing.
Never be a film of this?
I hope so. Fingers crossed.
So. Or a movie?
Yes. Hello Sunshine, Reese's production company, and Sony have bought the option, and they're developing a script. And it's, did you see the Crawdads movie, where the Crawdads sing? Do you know that book? Well, they came together on that movie, so it would be the same team. So I really, really hope it happens.
I hope so. It will be
it'd be incredible.
Thank you very much, and please sign me and our clients to a few books.
Of course, in your beautiful, beautiful bookshop.
Thank you so much, and have a really nice day in Hungary, in Budapest.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Please, this is mine.
Oh, okay.
Okay.